Good afternoon and welcome to part 11. Yeah! Last construction program for the DJH G5 starter kit, and well, all that's really left to do is to fit the pipework, which is under the footplate. Now, to do this, there are 8 etched parts which look like that. So we get a little bit closer. So they look like that, and they need to be bent in a number of ways. So it's so small I can't really show you very well, but they need to be bent like that. Well, if you can't see, it actually shows you on the instructions they need to be bent like that. And there's a half etched line, and the bottom bit, this bit at the bottom is half etched, that needs to be bent twice. And they need fitting under the footplate. So with that in mind, what we've done, or what I've done, is I've finally removed the strengthening parts from the inside of the footplate casting, and to do that I used a circular saw in the Dremel. Obviously, if you're going to use that method, be extremely careful. I almost lost the top of my fingertip some time ago using it because it slipped, and I wasn't careful enough. But if you do use that method, be very, very careful. Alternatively, you can use side cutters and then dress it off, but I'm left with nice holes. And the reason that I've done that is that to get the bends right, see this bit here where the pipes seem to disappear. Well, if you look at pictures of real locomotives, you will see that on here it doesn't actually show you completely, but that is where the sandbox protrudes, so it goes round the back of the sandbox. So in effect, what you're doing, you'll be making 4 bits, and where the sandboxes are, it will sort of disappear into the blackness underneath the footplate. So with that in mind, hopefully you have got 4.6mm rods left. I've only got 3, but I've got a 1 metre length of 1.5mm rod, which I keep in stock for doing other things. These are for electrification masts for the SR7 mill group. So I mean, I can use one of these. I don't need to make that many. So I've got 3 of these, so to cut another length off this is neither here nor there. And the 0.1mm you're not going to notice. So there's another thing that has come to light with doing this. If you remember when we did the chassis all that time ago, the motor is different to the one in the instructions. It's a Machima in the instructions, and the Machima is single-ended, and this is Canon is double-ended. You can just see the rear shaft. You will need to lop about 5mm off that shaft, otherwise the chassis doesn't fit underneath. You can lop enough off it so that if you're making this as a DC run unit, there is still enough on the rear shaft of the motor to fit a flywheel if that is the way that you wish to do it, and there is enough room just between the back of the cab and the back of the motor to fit a low profile flywheel. But as this is DCC, it doesn't really matter, that's all done internally. So the pipe brackets, there's measurements on the instructions which you need to follow. So it's 21mm at the rear, then 66, then 70, then 44, then 24. And those are gives you the distances of where the pipe brackets are, and it's the same on the other side. So with that in mind, what I did was I carried laundry markers, and you possibly can see, you can probably see that one and that one. But I've been around with the ruler and the laundry marker and made a mark. Another thing that you should be aware of, the one that is at 70mm is actually, just let me measure it again, because it's all very, very strange, this. So it's 21, that's 21, that's correct. You see, this is the benefit of measuring twice, because I've made a mistake. I made a mistake when measuring. What I've done is I've transposed the front and the rear markings, so it's 21, 66, then 70. The reason that I queried that was because if I'd done it the way that I did it initially, the 70 mark would have been directly opposite these holes, these two holes here, and they're the holes where you secure the body to the footplate. So as soon as you'd soldered the tank supports on, you wouldn't have been able to fit or undo the body for painting. So it would have been a bit pointless, really. So now that I've measured them correctly, it makes a lot more sense. So that goes to show you the benefit of measure multiple times and mark once, not do what I did, which was rush it a bit, measure once and make a mistake. Right, so I'm going to go away. I'm going to bend the all 8 of these pipe brackets up. There are some spares on the fret. There are 2 spares, so if they break, at least you've got some other spares to recover from. And once I've done all 8, then we'll come back and I'll solder one side. You don't want to see me soldering all 8. We'll solder one side and then we'll go about fitting the pipework. Welcome back, and I've done a few and I'm just going to do the last few. So the bit that is vertical with the half-etch rivet on needs to be level with the outside of the sole bar. So just retrieve that. Okay. So these parts are very delicate, and there is every chance that you will need the spares. So whatever you do, take care when you do this, whichever method you use, soldering or white metal. I'm going to solder. So we tin the part 145 and we feed the solder into all the joints, Just give it a good little coating. Then we take a little bit of 145, sorry, a little bit of 70 degree and tin the bottom end. And then where you put your marks with the marker, or whatever method you used, we'll put a bit of flux there. Try and make sure they line up with the ones on the other side. And then when you put it in place, then ease it down so that it lines up with the foot plate, like these two. Right, we'll just do the last. Two quickly. And then we'll go about doing the pipe work. So I've fitted all the supports, all 4 of the supports. You can just see them. There's one, there's another one, another one, another one. And now all we need to do is we just need to fit the chassis to the foot plate temporarily, so that we know where the bends go. So we're just going to fit it temporarily, make sure that you don't trap any of the wires. And I've got to set the tweezers somewhere. There we are. Just using a loose 1.8 bolt, I think it is. So I've just fitted the chassis temporarily just to hold it in place so we can get where the bends go. So this, just get the board out so that we can. So first one first, we will do this side, the front vacuum pipe, which is this one along here, this one along here. Now, where the footstep is, in the real one, the locomotive will go behind the footstep strengthening part, but because this is solid, what we will do is we will cut the rod. So we're going to anneal it so that we can get some nice bends. And to anneal it, you just want it to sort of glow dull red, and then just let it dry naturally, or cool naturally I should say. So I'm going to use this screwdriver as a former, and yeah, let it cool naturally. Wait till it's cooled. So we've got a nice bend. We've bent it around this bit of the screwdriver. So there's the first pipe. Come on, focus. There it is. There's the first pipe. And we'll just carry on doing the rest of them using that bit of 1.6. You can bend without annealing, you don't need to do what I'm doing, but you get a nicer bend if you anneal the material. And we're just going to, it's going to have to pretend that it's going through that, because all you want to do is just keep bending it until you get a shape that looks okay and goes from where you want it, well, basically where you want it to go to. Don't get too hung up over the shape of the pipe as well, according to the instructions, because, well, no doubt you've got a photo of your prototype, and if you look, it's another one of these things that if you look at enough photographs, you will see that they are all different, and so don't worry too much about your pipework conforming to what it looks like in the instructions. Just make sure it all lines up reasonably well. There's the vacuum pipe. We'll tidy it up a bit later. But that's how it goes. Don't worry too much about the footstep. We'll just pretend that it goes behind the footstep support, and we'll worry about concealing it when it's painted. I don't think you'll notice it once it's painted. Okay, so I'll go away and I'll do the other ones, and then I'll come back when I'm finished. They're all basically the same, so all you've got to do is just keep trying the fit of the brass rod until you get something that looks decent, and then that's it. All you've got to do is just persevere, keep measuring, keep trying, and you'll get something that will look good. So I'm going to go away, I'll do the other ones, and then we'll just come back when I've done that. Okay, so I've been away and I fitted all the pipe work. If you can see, it goes in where the sandbox is. This is why you have to fit the chassis when you do this. So I've done it all the way round. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the temporary screws out, and I'm going to put the body on, and I'm going to fit the smokebox front, because that's the last thing that needs doing. So we'll just take the temporary screws out. We don't need the chassis on to fit the smokebox front. And we'll put a couple of the proper screws in. We won't put them all in because we'll have to take it apart to paint it. So I've kept all the screws handy. And what we'll do is we'll move a bit closer. So all the body fixing screws are self-tappers. Just use the right ones. So we'll fit the two at the back. So we'll fit the two at the back, and we'll fit the two at the front, which are countersunk ones. So there are another two in the middle, but we won't fit those because we have to take it all apart to take the cab out to paint it. So we'll just fit the four temporary. So there's the completed body except for the smokebox front, and we'll just try the smokebox front. We'll do it that way so it's not resting on the steam heat pipes. And the smokebox front is around here somewhere. There it is. And we're going to super glue this on just in case we need to get access to it. So it fits okay that side, but it doesn't quite fit satisfactory that side. There's a small gap, so we'll dress it slightly. And that's pretty good. So we'll super glue this on, but we're not going to super glue it to the foot plate. All we're going to do is super glue it to the boiler, and then we'll fit the last part. And we'll fit the last part, which is an etched part. It's this H-shaped part here, so we'll just cut that out. Use the Dremel. Where's the Dremel with the cutting disc in? Quite a delicate half etched part, so be careful with it. Get it the right way up when you do it. and a couple of dabs of super glue. And there it is. So that's the body complete. Fitted with a DCC speaker, and that completes part 11 of the construction of the DJH G5 starter kit. There will be one more part after this, which will be a wash up and showing it when it's painted, and hopefully with it moving under DCC control. But I hope you've enjoyed this series of programs, and watch out for part 12, which with a bit of luck will be taking place in the next couple of days. Thank you for watching.